Okay.
Okay. Perek Chi, Hilchos Tshuva, 9th chapter, Laws of Tshuva. Me'acha shenoda sheman schoret shel mitzvahs ba'atova. The reward for mitzvahs and the good sheniskelo im shamarnu derech Hashem, and the goodness that we will merit if we kept the way of Hashem. Hakosav b'Torah. What is the way of Hashem? What's written in the Torah? Chayol l'mabo. This is the world to come, life in the world to come. Shneim man yitav loch. It should be good for you, varachta yomim, and you will have long days. V'anakamo shenokmin min roshoim, and the vengeance, the revenge, which is taken from the evil. She'ozu orchas hatzedek, which they abandoned the paths of righteousness. Haksuvas b'Torah, which are set, which are written in the Torah. Hiakoris. The nakama, the revenge and the vengeance, which is directed at the evil, who abandoned the pathways of justice, what's just, which are written in the Torah. That's koris. That's spiritual excision. Shenemar, he koris te koris hanef shahi avonabo. That soul will be cut off because it carries the sin. What's the sin? That it not follow the pathways of what's just. And what's just? It's not what we think is just. It's what the Torah says is just. Mauzer shekosim chol Torah kulo im tishmu yigia lachem kach. When Torah says, if you heed the word of the Torah, you will be deserving of this. Im lo sishmu yikro eschem kach. If you do the right thing, such and such a thing will come about. If you do the wrong things, the negative, all that the Torah discusses, that's what has relevance to this world. We're talking about physical reward and punishment. Going sova verov, being sated, being starvation, milchama, v'shalom, war and peace, malchus v'shiflos, being meriting royalty or lowliness, yeshivas orotz, to be settled in the land, v'goldus, an exile, hatzlochas maisa, succeeding in your actions and investment, hefsedo and loss, usharkol, divrei abris, whatever's written in the regarding the covenant. If you follow the covenant, you don't follow the covenant. Kolosa dvorim emes, hoyu v'yu. All that stated that it's true, it was and it will be. It was macha anu osin kol hamitzvos haTorah yegia elenu tovas olam hazeh. As long as we're still in an existence where we could have choice, we could choose to do A or B, or A or Z. All that goodness or punishment has relevance to that existence. And God forbid, when we transgress what's written in the Torah, all the punishment will come upon those. But as good as goodness is in the physical realm, it has no relevance to what the ultimate reward is for mitzvos. Lo osna ros hem sof hanakoma shenokmin me over al kol mitzvos. And when we speak about the punishment, which one is liable for and will receive for the transgressions, whatever is considered negative in this world or painful in this world has no relevance to what's pain in the world to come is. This is exactly the upshot of what we're talking about. Hashem gave us the Torah, which is the tree of life. One who actualizes it and keeps it. V'yodu dea gemura nechona. Hear this? And you know it. This is the knowledge of Torah. V'yoda dea nechona. You have an absolute understanding of the Torah and correct. Everybody has their own idea what the Torah means. It means this, it means that. They turn it into homiletics, myths, lessons. Forget about all that. The question is, what does the Torah say? So if you haven't a knowledge, knowing exactly what God is saying, you will merit a share in the world to come. And based on the dimension and the degree of succeeding through your actions, Rov chochmoso, hear this? And the abundance of your wisdom, meaning your knowledge of Torah, hu zoche, through that you'll be zoche. So we two things. We speak Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Torah is the ultimate. So it's not enough lefi masa, your action. Your action is doing the mitzvahs, even studying. But rov chachmoso, the dimension, what you achieve within chachma, that those two factors combined, that will give you that special place in the world to come. V'ifticha b'Torah shemnase osa b'simcha. Now this is important. And the Torah guarantees us that when we do the mitzvahs, we do it with joy. Ubetuvas nefesh. And with a good sense of feeling. With a goodness. Not God forbid being begrudging. V'nene b'chochmoso. And you have tremendous pleasure. You bask in the wisdom of Torah. Tamid sheyosi menu kol advarim hamonim osanu lasoso. He will remove all the things that interfere interfering from the observance of Torah, gont choli, illness, milchama, war, rov, uchiyot sheben. Just going to stop for a moment. Kodesh Baruch Hu nosel lanu Torah. God gave us the Torah. Zu eitz chaim hi. This is the tree of life. Chol ha'oseh kol ha'kosav bo. And whoever actualizes and observes all that's written in it, v'yodo, day of Gemura, and you have an absolute understanding of it, day of Gemura nechot, a correct understanding. Zoche bo l'chelu bo. Through that, a combination of you do it and knowledge, with this level of clarity, you merit a share in the world to come. Ufi godel masov, and based on the dimension of your actions, accomplishment, vrov chachmoso, and based on the degree of knowledge you have, uzoche, you merit. Then you classify a person as meritorious. Viftachnu b'Torah, and the Torah promises us, guarantees us, shemnasa osa b'simcha. And when you do, if you observe the Torah with joy, like you feel privileged, ubetovas nefesh, and with a positive feeling of emotion, v'nene b'chochmoso, and you have pleasure from its wisdom, from the insights. Tomid, continuously, sheyosi mimeru kol advar mamonim osanu lasoso. God will remove all the interference that denies us and prevents us from fulfilling it. Go choli, like illness, milchama, war, rov, hunger, uchiyot. Any levels of impediments, God will remove that. If you're engaging at this level. V'yashpia lono es kol hatovos hamachzikos es yodenu lasator. He will give us every accommodation, every amenity, which will allow us to encourage us to do more of the same. Go sova, plenty, shalom, peace, ribu kesef zov, no lack of silver and gold, abundance, kedei shlo naso kol yimenu b'dvorim shaguf tzorach lehem, that we should not be distracted to be involved with responsibilities which are physical necessities. Ela neishev penuyim lilmod b'chochma, we should be free to study wisdom, which is the Torah, v'lasos ha-mitzvah, kedei sheniske l'chayim l'mabo, to merit a share in the world to come. That's what it's all about. That's the ultimate. Zoos in the United States were considered the best zoos. Zoologists take care of the animals, the way they're kept, that they created habitats, each one of the species, as if they're in the habitat back in where their origin is. So the two zoos are the San Diego Zoo and the St. Louis Zoo. If you go to St. Louis Zoo, you have people living in homeless shelters. The animals are being taken care of. They have better accommodations. The habitat, exactly the environment, the temperature, the way their location. It's not a pen. It's not just a room. It's literally a very expansive area. whether it's the elephant pavilion, the lion, the bear, whatever it is, doesn't make a difference. And the way they take care of medically, the way they take care of, you say to a person who's a stable, rational person, would you move into this kind of facility from cradle to grave? You don't have to have a worry in the world. You could sleep till 3 PM, and they give you your pail of water and your fish or your meat or whatever it is. You rise, you fall back into your little cushion there, and then you go, just that's a cycle, day in and day out. It's called rise and fall. That's what it's called. But you're a person who has intelligence and you have a person who has ambition. He said, but you realize you want to be part of the rat race. You want to be out there toiling for what? And studying. You have no worry in the world. Just move in there and just blank out. Versus, for me, that would be a living death. To live there, to be non-functional, non-productive, that's not what life's all about. I prefer to have almost nothing to exchange it for that. That would be torture. It's torture. That's not what a human being is meant to be taken care of, the way the animals take care of, and provided for, whatever it is. The person has to take initiative and has to invest and sense accomplishment and be content because he chose certain levels of involvement and development within himself, whether it's intellectual, whether it's emotional, whether it's character-wise, whatever it is, that's what a human being's all about. And you pride yourself. People pride themselves, they never took a penny from anyone. They pride themselves. Rather than saying, something, this was an easy one. I won the lottery. That's what you pride yourself, you won the lottery. That's what your life's about. Thank God you had the dollar that you could buy the lottery. Outside of that, you can't add two numbers together. So what's your value? So if you give you God-given the Torah and you take advantage and you study it and you have knowledge and you actualize it because you appreciate its value and you do it with joy and with pleasure. Hashem says that's what it's all about. As they said, you get it. And when you get it, God says, I'll provide whatever you need. That you should continue to grow to get it. There should be no interference in your life. I provide whatever you need. I always say, there's no check that God can't write. That's the way it is. But you have to be on his program. You're on your own program, God says, write your own check. You're on my program, then I write the check. And that's what life's all about. And even the one who doesn't have much, but because of where he's at, he has an understanding. He's thankful and appreciative for every little bit that God gives him. Even if he has material very little. But that he has understanding and he merited to see the light, so to say. To have that level of understanding of life, what it's about, what's primary and what's secondary. That itself says it's a gift of God. I'll give you an example. Every day, at the end of the last part of the Amidah is Modeh. We give thanks to God. What's the first thing? The first thanks we give to God. First thanks, you're our God. You know what it means? That we have a personal relationship with God, the creator of existence, the infinite being, the omnipotent being. He chose us to be his people. We're his people. Shatu Hashem Elokeinu. Tzur Chayenu, Mogen Yishen, you're the rock of our lives. You're the epicenter of everything we are. The miracles you perform for us. What you do for us unceasingly. Let's say you're walking down the street. I'll tell you a story, very interesting story. I'm involved with this person from Israel, I said. He's a very special person. He was visiting here a week ago. He was here to raise money for his programs in Israel. And he went just to visit somebody because the person's father passed away, and he thought he'd meet the son. Listen to the story. And he had to travel nearly 2 hours to get there. He was in Riverdale. And he was told the son would be there. He just came to really pay it like a condolence, because he didn't see the person during the Shiva period. And he wasn't there. And he was disappointed because he felt he owed it to the father. He wanted to pay the condolence call to the son. and he's there. All of a sudden, he notices somebody, an Israeli person who grew up in that community where he lives now, and he oversees this community. And he says to him, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I'll tell you what I'm doing here. My wife's under treatment." He was a person in his mid-20s, under treatment in Columbia Presbyterian. She has cancer. And every day, I live just staying in Brooklyn. Somebody's hosting me. And every day, I have to make the trip from Brooklyn to Columbia Presbyterian. I'm busy going back and forth with my wife 2.5 hours. And she's not in the condition to travel that kind of, and I can't afford the Uber fare or the taxi fare. And it's not easy. She says, "No problem. I'll arrange for you. There'll be a car to take you every day when you have to go. And when you have to return, the car will be waiting for you to bring you back." Then he says to him, "I have a problem with my visa. We're here on a visitor's visa because originally the treatment was supposed to be so long, but our visa is going to expire and we have to leave the country in 2 weeks. And she has another 6 weeks of treatment. What am I supposed to do?" Person says, "No problem. I'll get in touch with an immigration lawyer. He'll extend your visa." And he took care of both things. So the person says to me, he says, "Here I go to pay a condolence call. The person's not there. And because he's not there, who do I meet? I meet this person. What kind of gift did Hashem give me? I'm probably the only person who could arrange it for him because he didn't know anybody else. And Hashem made it that he's there. I meet him, which I didn't expect him to be there. I provided the car, the transportation, and the immigration lawyer to extend his visa. This person was so thankful that Hashem gave him the gift to be able to do this. But you realize it's money out of his pocket because he has to cover the transportation. Maybe the immigration lawyer did it gratis. I'm not sure if he did it pro bono. I'm not sure. It doesn't make a difference. But to feel that it's like he came upon a treasure. Baruch Hashem. I meant one thing and God wanted something else. And he appreciated it. So I'm asking you, this kind of person, what will God do? God will bring him more of the same because he's worthy of it. He's deserving it and he appreciates it. He doesn't see it as a disappointment. He sees it as a win, not as a loss. And these are role models to be inspired rather than being disappointed.